Hello, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. The message that you are going to be listening to, it comes from a confession that was sent to me. Then it was translated by one of our admins. And the message reads like this. Hello, how are you, my brother? Can you please post my story as anonymous? My brother, I am a 40-year-old man, and in the family from where I come from, we are 7. And among those 7 children, I am the last born. So what happened is that when our father died, none of our father's relatives ever bothered to come to check up on us. We never had food in the house. Our mother struggled a lot until me and my brothers decided that we just had to stop going to school so that we can assist her, because there was never food in the house. There was never money in the house. So we all stopped going to school, and we knew that there was no way our mother was going to get that kind of money to take us all to school. So what we did is that me, my brothers and my sisters, we would go around the village looking for piece jobs, and if we would work, some people would give us food, some people would give us money. After finishing the piece job, me, my brothers, and my sisters, we will take all the food that would have been given to us and the money, then we'll go back home and we will give it to our mother. Another thing, Brother Nashi, is that when I grew up, I started to realize that there was something wrong with me. Wherever I went, if I tried to work, sometimes I would work, but at the end of the month, the person that I'll be working for, sometimes that person would refuse to pay me, or sometimes I would work, then I'll just get fired. I just had bad luck. Even if I were walking in the street, there was this other day, there were some police officers who stopped me, and they said that they suspected that I had marijuana on me, even though they had searched me and they had seen that I had no marijuana on me, but still they chose to go with me to the police station. After we had arrived at the police station, they started to interrogate me, saying that I had marijuana somewhere. But after stripping me all of my clothes, still they could not find any marijuana on me. They interrogated me, but in the end, they just let me go. That's the kind of bad luck that I had. After I had seen that in my own country there was nothing going on, after I had seen that in my country there was no way I could get any job, I decided to go to Botswana. So when I arrived in Botswana, yes, I didn't have any papers that allowed me to work in Botswana. I started to work for this man. This man had a plot and he was keeping his cows. Whenever I was looking, that man was so impressed because I grew up in the villages and I was a hard worker. I knew the situation that I had left at home. I wanted to make sure that I only worked and I never looked at anything else. I had gone to Botswana just to work and nothing else, so I would work day and night. That man was so impressed and he said to me, "Young man, I want you to keep working for me for many years because I am planning to buy more cattle. I need someone that I can trust, that if I leave you on this plot, I can know that all of my livestock will be in good hands. So what we are going to do, please tell me, how much is it going to cost you for you to go back to your country so that you can apply for a passport, and when you come here, we are going to start the process of you applying a work permit." And to me, that was good news. I told him the money that was needed, and he said to me, "It is okay, I will help you." When I saw that this man that I was working for was willing to help me to sort out my papers, I was happy and I worked even harder. I said to him one day, "Boss, what I want you to do is that each and every month when you come to give me my salary, don't give me all of my salary at once. I want you to keep the rest of the money. I just want you to give me the money so that I can buy mealie meal, cabbage and tomatoes so that I can have something to eat, but the rest of the money you can keep it." He then said to me, "It is okay, young man." He went to the shops, then he bought a small book and he said to me, "In this small book, I want you to write all the money that I'll be owing you. Then we will see whenever you want to go back to your country how much I am supposed to give you so that you can go and apply for your passport." And that is what we did. I kept on working and working. The only money that I was taking from my boss is whenever I needed needed to buy something to eat. The rest of the money, he was just keeping it. Then in the month where I was supposed to go back to my country, before month end, there was this other young man that I was working with, and he said to me, can you please go with me to town? There is something that I want to buy in town. And I said, it is okay, let us go. So we went to the hiking spot and we got into this car. While we were in that car on the road, then the car that we were in, it was stopped by the police and they asked for everyone's IDs. When they came to us, we didn't have any papers. They told us to get out of the car. That is how we got arrested. After we had been arrested, we got deported back to our country, which is Zimbabwe. So what they did is that the police in Botswana handed us over to the police in Zimbabwe. But all of the people that were deported on that day, because of my bad luck, I was told that I had to stand aside. They said that mine was a special case. They wanted to treat me separately. They took me to another cell. Then they said that they were suspecting that I was an international spy. When they told me that I was a spy, I was actually surprised. How could I be a spy? I tried to explain it to them that whilst I was in Botswana, I was doing a kind of a job that no one wanted to do, and the kind of a salary that I was getting, it was so low. No international spy would want to work in the kind of environment where I was working. Then they said to me that it was a good cover up and I was trying to smuggle some weapons into my own country. They started to interrogate me. They beat me up like I had never been beaten like in my whole life. In the end, they said that we have seen that you have done no wrong. You are free to go. But the man who had been interrogating me, he came to me and he said to me, the whole time when I was interrogating you, it was like there is a spirit that came and possessed me. And in my mind, I was telling myself that this person is worthy of death. You were supposed to die with the way that I was interrogating you. I am so sorry. Then they let me go. When they let me go, they never gave me anything. So I had to hitchhike a truck from the police station where they had been keeping me going back to my village. When I arrived in my own village, the situation that I had left in my home, that is the same situation that greeted me when I arrived back. When I told my mother that I had been deported, and when I told her that I had worked for many months and my boss was keeping all of my money, not like he wanted to rob me, but he was trying to assist me, and I was afraid that if he gave me all of that money, maybe I was going to misuse it. When I told my mother the way that I had been treated by the police, I think the whole experience raised her high blood pressure. From that day, my mother, who was already sick, became more sick, and we could not even take my mother to the hospital. The day that my mother died, that is the day that I started to hate poverty. It took so many years for me to become a ritualist, but from the day that my mother passed away, I made a promise to myself that I was not going to die a poor man. I was going to do whatever I can to become rich. As years go by, I eventually met this man. I was just speaking with this man on WhatsApp. That man then said in the group where I was, he said to us, I am a ritualist and I used some beds to be a ritualist. I am not using any blood money. So everyone just thought that this man was joking, but I went into his inbox and I asked him, my brother, is it true that you are a ritualist? And he confirmed to me and he said, yes, indeed, I am a ritualist and I am not using any human blood. I am only using beds to get this money. I asked him, who has helped you? And he said to me, currently, I am staying in Mozambique, and if you want to be assisted, if you want to chase away poverty, I can make a plan and I will give you that man's numbers. And I said to him, please, I am tired of poverty. Just give me those numbers. And that man that I had met on WhatsApp gave me those numbers. So I started to speak with that man who said that he was going to take me out of poverty. He told me that in order for this ritual to work, I had to travel to Mozambique. I went back to that man, my friend that I had met on WhatsApp. I told him that it was impossible for me to travel all the way to Mozambique because I never had any hope of getting any money anytime soon. And he said to me, it is fine, I am going to send you some money. And yes, he kept his promise. He sent me some money. Then I went on the bus. I traveled to Mozambique. When I arrived in Mozambique, that man that I had met on WhatsApp, he was already waiting for me. He took me to his house. I was so tired because I had traveled such a long way. So I slept. Then around 12 a.m., I woke up. Then there was someone who was standing. He was a big man and he was looking at me. He just said to me, come, just follow me. So I followed that man outside and he asked me, where is the chicken that you bought from Zimbabwe? So they told me that in order for this ritual to be performed, I had to travel to Mozambique with a chicken that I had taken from our own homestead in the village, and I had done so. So I showed them where I had been keeping the chicken. Then they took the chicken, then they started to do the rituals. After they had done doing the rituals, they told me that this clay pot that we have given you, it is going to be filled with blood at all times. What you are supposed to do when you go back to your home country, you are supposed to look for a woman that you are going to date. And when you are dating that woman, make sure that whenever you and this woman have sexual intercourse, you are supposed to take one of her underwears and you are supposed to put the underwear into this clay pot. Then they told me that the rituals were finished. They gave me also the head of that chicken, and they told me that when I returned back home, I was supposed to bury those things that they had given me in the middle of the compound. When I arrived in the village, everyone was just sleeping, so I dug up a hole. I took all the things that they had given me in Mozambique, then I buried them. In a short period of time, there was this other man that I was working for way before. That man just called me out of nowhere. Then he said to me, can you please come? I really need someone to assist me because there is this job that I want to do. Then I started to work. When I was working for that man, connections kept on coming until I became rich like I am right now. My brother, now what happened is that at that time when I was working, there was this other woman. She was a single mother. So I started to date that woman because I just wanted her panties and I didn't know how I was going to get her panties. I said to her, look, I have this big house and I have just bought this cupboard for you. What I want you to do is that when you come to sleep over at my house, I want you to leave some of your clothes so that when you are visiting me, you don't carry any of your clothes up and down. I just want you to leave some of your clothes in your house. And I managed to convince her to leave most of her panties and her bras in my bedroom. So what I'll do is that whenever that woman would come over to my house, after we had finished having sexual intercourse, and whenever I'll drive her back to her house, when I would come back, I'll then take all of her bras and her underwears. Sometimes I'll spend a day wearing her underwear. Sometimes I'll spend a day wearing her bra. What I'll do is that whenever that woman will be at my place, I'll just avoid bathing, because in Mozambique, I had been told that whenever you finish having sexual intercourse with a woman, you are not supposed to bath. So that is what I'll do each and every time whenever that woman will be around. After having sexual intercourse, sometimes I'll just lie to her that I'm going to the bathroom to bath, but when I'll be in there, I'll just wipe my armpits and some places on my body just to wipe off the smell. Then I'll come back and I'll say to her, baby, I have finished bathing. After she had gone, I would select amongst her panties. Then I will wear that panty throughout the day. Then at night, I'll remove that panty and I'll tie it in a plastic, and I'll put that plastic in that clay pot that will be filled with blood. That is how I make my money. But unfortunately, that lady that I was dating, she just died, and I don't know why the reason for her sudden death. Now I am dating another woman and I am doing the same. I managed to convince her. I said to her, baby, I want you to leave most of your clothes here. When you come over at my house, I want you not to struggle with changing clothes. I want your clothes to be here. And she left some of her clothes at my house, and I do the same things. On most days, I take her panties and her bra and I wear them throughout the day. Then at night I remove them and I put them in a plastic and I put it into that clay pot so that I can make money. I am just praying that this lady is not going to die like what happened to the first woman that I was dating. There is another ritual that I do also. There is a room that I was told that I should keep it locked at all times. No one is supposed to enter into that room. So that room, I was told that I should never enter into that room whilst I'll be dirty, as in if I just had sexual intercourse with a woman, I'll be dirty. I am not supposed to enter into that room. I am only supposed to enter into that room when I am clean. So what I do in that room is each and every time when I get in there, I just put eggs into that room. Mostly it will be 5 dozens, but within a few days, I don't know what is eating up those eggs. What I do, I just go into that room and I remove all of the eggshells that will be on the floor. Then I put eggs into that room and I will come back later to remove the eggshells. That is how I am making money. Right now in my own house, there is fire that burns and I don't know where that fire comes from, but when that fire starts burning, it doesn't burn anything. It doesn't damage my house or any property that is in my house, but I just see the fire burning. Sometimes I can be with my girlfriend just sitting down. That fire will be burning, but my girlfriend will not see the fire. It is only me who can see the fire. My brother, this is what is going on in my life. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from Anonymous. Then I gave it to one of our admins so that it can be translated. So that was a translation of a message that I received, hoping that you were able to understand the confession. Let's meet again in the following episodes.